punya table ke? Afternoon, everybody. Our attendees are streaming in now, so we will start shortly. So those of you who are already here, do say hello at the chat box. So once again, today we have participants from more than 5 countries. So welcome everyone, those from Malaysia, from Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and Singapore. Looking forward to start this session shortly. So as I see we have more people dropping in already. So we give them just a few more minutes before we start. Hello, David and Mr. Nathan, Mr. Devatara. We have Encik Ahmad Rushaidi, Puan Nurul, hi Debbie, good afternoon. We will start in about 2 minutes. One more minute. Thank you for your patience. Let's start. Hi everyone, good afternoon. Do you like that video? I think it's really cute. So welcome back to the Malaysian Water Association and Malaysia International Water Convention webinar series. Today is our 9th webinar in this series. Thank you for joining us. Southeast Asia is now switching to recovery mode. Most of us are back at work. Schools are reopening in phases. Malaysia is starting discussions with green zone countries on the opening of borders. We hope it won't be too long before governments could mutually allow business, education, and tourism sectors to be open between the countries. But things will not be 100% back to normal yet, not until a vaccine is found. So, what is replacing the old normal will be a mindset of continuous adaptation, a mindset of hyper-learning, which is continuous high-quality learning, unlearning, and relearning. Does everybody agree? So for now, let's continue to use our next 1 hour to 1.5 hours to learn, unlearn, relearn, explore, and adapt to the new normal. Today, we are very honored to have with us Engineer Muhamad Sobri Bin Zakaria, Executive Director of the Water and Sewerage Regulatory Department, National Water Services Commission, or SPAN for short. He will be sharing with us on water services statistics for Peninsular Malaysia and FT Labuan. Haji Sobri is the Senior Director of the Water Industry Audit Division in SPAN. His expansive roles in SPAN include Water and Sewerage Regulatory Function, NRW Task Force, development of key performance indicators, and thematic audit on high-impact activities, such as water demand and supply planning, NRW management, asset management, billing management, CapEx planning, and last but not least, implementation and assessing of KPI. Today's presentation will be in two parts. The first part will be on water services section, and the second part will be on sewerage services. Thank you, Haji Sobri, for being with us today and for your time in preparing for today's presentation. So as usual, we will have some survey questions in the middle of the presentation. So do join us by answering the questions. And for questions for our speaker, kindly key in your questions at the Q&A icon at the bottom of the screen. And of course, our webinar is available on YouTube, and we will announce all the details. Dato Engineer Abdul Kadir bin Muhammad Din, President of the Malaysian Water Association, is here with us today. So can I invite Dato Kadir to say a few words to kick off this session? Dato Kadir, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Denise. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to today's MWA organized webinar series. As what been said by Denise, this is our 9th in the series. And today the webinar presentation look at a very important aspect of utility services. That is the water services statistics for Peninsular Malaysia and FT Labuan. It will be presented by Engineer Muhamad Sobri Bin Zakaria from SPAN. And the sharing of some key information on water supply and sewerage services statistics in today's webinar by SPAN comes at an opportune time, as we all know the need for transparent and accurate industry data and information cannot be overemphasized today. I'm glad that this webinar on the annual water industry statistics and related performance of the water utilities companies in Peninsular Malaysia and FT Labuan highlights a key commitment of SPAN's contribution towards bridging this info to the public. As we are aware, Water Services Industry Act 2006 obliges SPAN to monitor the performance of the provision of water supply and sewage services by the regulated utilities companies. It includes SPAN to take measures necessary to improve their service levels and performance. Furthermore, SPAN is obliged to prepare reports on comparative analysis of the performance of the licensees in relation to the performance targets specified in the licenses in its report to the members of the Commission. I hope this seminar will also bring the understanding of the role of SPAN and the licensees. In short, SPAN is the regulator and we have two license holders One is the asset license holder that is currently held by Pengurusan Asset Air and some few of water operators, and we have this service licensee generally held by the water operators. Over many years now, this annual data and statistics collected from the water utilities companies are also shared with the general public in the Malaysian Water Industry Guideline, or MWIG, published by the Malaysian Water Association in collaboration with PAN and the successive ministries responsible for water. The publication contains the basic information, data, and statistics about the water industry performance and its development over time. Through this publication, MWA and SPAN both contribute to the providing transparent information on Malaysia's water industry. The data also used for providing information to third parties, such as ministries and governments, agencies, companies, institutions, consumers, both nationally and internationally. Statistical data are very relevant to help water managers better understand the economical and financial performance of their companies, in methods to improve efficiency, in how to save costs, and etc. All this knowledge and experience is used to contribute to the financial and economic sustainability of the water utilities and the water sector as a whole. From the trends depicted in this annual water industry report, the public can take note on the general improvement in sector performance, particularly if the previous year's scenario is taken as a benchmark. Service delivery will also be noted in service coverage, cost and income data, reduction of NRW, some financial statistics, level of service, and technical and services KPIs. With this report making the respective utilities companies accountable for their performance, we expect that consumer confidence will continue to grow and ultimately translate into improved efficiencies and performance. You will be able to see some of these vital statistics being presented by Engineer Muhamad Sobri Bin Zakaria, the Executive Director of Water and Sewerage Regulatory Department, SPAN. Water professionals will be able to use these important statistics and to show how, over and above these statistics, they can be used to answer appropriate common questions such as, is our water or sewage services getting better or worse, or more or less variable? What is the risk of non-compliance? When have changes occurred, and where and were they gradually or sudden? Are we doing enough supporting from on the water reform, or is it too little? So, ladies and gentlemen, however, the water utilities face many challenges. Notably, these challenges will abound in raw water quality, which often disrupt production of water treatment plants. No periodical tariff adjustment as envisaged in the utilities business plans submitted and approved by the regulator, insufficient funds to address leakages from aging assets, etc. Hence, overall, we see the issue of sustainability of the water utilities remain a major challenge as well. This does not reflect well in the performance report that we see today in some aspect. In response to this challenge, MWA would like to encourage SPAN and the utilities to make fresh tariff review applications reflecting the reality of their current situations. The success of this process will contribute to enhancing sustainability in service delivery. Effective management of public water supplies and the water environment relies on sound analysis and interpretation of monitoring data. Moving forward, MWA feels it's the right time now for the industry to formally adopt performance benchmarking as one of the tools for monitoring and performance of water utilities. Benchmarking seeks to identify standards of best practice to apply in measuring and improving performance. In conclusion, we hope we can see all value statistics. We can use statistics to form a key factor in the formulation of better policies, for example, within the framework of Malaysia's Shared Prosperity Vision 2030 and the 12th Nation Plan Development Strategy to transform the water sector from now until year 2040. Finally, a big thank you to the CEO of SPAN and Engineer Muhammad Sobri for sharing the water services statistics today, much sought after by the public at large, and also to our webinar host, Protem Group. I wish all of us to have a successful and fruitful webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And And I now invite Haji Sobri to start his presentation.
Engineer Abdul Qadir bin Muhammad Din, President MWA. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all participants who attended this webinar session organized by MWA. My name is Muhamad Sobri and I work at SPAN since 2008. My current position in SPAN is as a Executive Director for Water and Sewerage Regulatory Department since 1st September 2019. First of all, on behalf of SPAN, I would like to express gratitude to our host today, MWA, for inviting me today to talk on the water services statistics for Peninsular Malaysia and Wilayah Labuan. I would like to give a brief outline on my presentation, which consists of a brief introduction of SPAN, water services statistics, some comments and way forward, issues and challenges in the industry. First, let me introduce about SPAN. SPAN's function is to regulate water services industry in accordance to the Water Services Industry Act 2006, which was enforced on 1st January 2008. SPAN is a technical and economic regulatory body for the water and sewerage services in Peninsular Malaysia and Putrajaya and Labuan. Without further ado, let us start. Since our establishment, the National Water Services Commission have set its vision toward sustainable, reliable, and affordable water services for all. We all strive to regulate water services industry through fair, effective, and transparent implementation of Water Services Industry Act. Next, first I would like to explain, to share a bit the strategies SPAN had planned to improve the overall performance and work efficiency to better serve our nation in the water industry. Now, earlier this year, SPAN has set out 8 SPAN's strategic goals, or we call SSG 8, which each of the SSG have its distinct function, initiatives, deliverables, and timeline. The first SSG I want to share is starting with the SSG number 1, ensuring continuous supply. In order to achieve this goal, there are strategies have been set up as the minimum reserve margin, interconnected network and storage sufficiency, alternative treated water supply restriction, and sustained raw water supply. Next, for SSG 2, for resource management, under SSG 2, the programs include risk management, pollution control, reclaim, recycle, and reuse, alternative sources, and also sewerage catchment strategy. For SSG 3, we have to improve the current water supply demand. So several programs have planned to achieve set target, includes NRW reduction, consumption reduction, and tariff setting mechanism. Next, for SSG 4, is for customer-centric. There are initiatives led to improve services with all stakeholders' engagement and to nurture public service mentality and at the same time eliminating bureaucracy. Now, SPAN also work to improve our workforce. So under SSG 5, we have set out program under talent management, training and development, performance rewards system, and scholarships to equip our employees with the qualities to be par with the international standard. Besides, several aspects we would like to strengthen on, such as digitizing our workflow, big data analysis, cybersecurity, and flexi job or flexi hours. Under SSG 7, to further enhance the effective enforcement capacity, we are looking by reviewing our act or guideline, by acting proactively to improve enforcement process and constantly collaborating with other agencies. Lastly, for strategic communication, we will be working on the awareness program, educational program, social media engagement, and also customer satisfaction communication. For your information, each of the strategic goal will be monitored at short, medium, and long term. In today's session, we will be talking about two main sections in the water services industry. First, I will share the summary statistic in water supply services and the current NNW, the water quality, supply and demand, and also daily water consumption. Then I will also share some data on the sewerage sector. We will be looking at the details data on the sewerage connected services, public and private sewage treatment plants that are under purview of SPAN. Next, I would like to share a quick summary on the water supply statistics. In here, the average water supply services coverage is about 96.7% for year 2019. In 2019 also, there are a total of 336 water treatment plants, and the average national reserve margin is about 12.9%. So far, there are 7.1 million registered accounts for water supply services. From there, 86.6% is those domestic users, and the rest are non-domestic users account. And for length of pipes is about 130,234 kilometers, where 30% of it consists of AC pipes. And the current daily water consumption per person in Malaysia is 226 liters. As for NWW, the current NWW level is 33%. And as for quality, under the Quality Assurance Program or QAP, all the 5 main parameters meet the minimum requirement. Lastly, there are deficits in the water industry financial account, where the total expenditure have exceeded 1.06 billion as compared to its total revenue. Next, let us understand the elements that are important in ensuring a continuous water supply from water operators to all users. In order to do that, the following aspects must be properly governed. First, we must make sure the availability of water resources. We must regulate water sustainability to ensure its sufficiency for future developments. So this brings us to the next point, which making sure our water is in good quality by emphasizing the importance of water resources pollution control. And we must monitor the performance of all water treatment plants for able to treat and supply the quality of treated water. Then we must optimize our reserve margin. This is by ensuring the balance between the design capacities of the plant to treat water as compared to the total demand of water supply. Besides, we must ensure reduction in non-revenue water. Works need to be done to lower the NRW level by properly manage two major components, physical losses and commercial losses, with proper techniques and strategy. Last but not least is to regulate our nation's water consumption per capita. I will share more on the water usage per person in Malaysia in the later slides. In general, the overall regulating in the water services revolve around several risks and implications. First, the risk of insufficient water supply. This scenario will activate the need of water supply rationing in certain states. For example, earlier this year, there are about 250,000 user accounts were affected due to water rationing in Malacca. Similarly, water rationing also happened in the state of Johor. Next, we look at the risk of water resources pollution. As we know, water sources pollution could cause serious impact on water quality and water supply, subsequently affecting many users. So raw water pollution such as river pollution is now more common in some states such as in Selangor, Johor, Malacca, Pahang. River pollution is one of the major causes of water treatment plant shutdown, resulted water supply disruption. So based on our record, there are about 474 water treatment plants shut down, cases reported in 2018, involving 4,458 hours, while about 216 water treatment plants shut down cases with 1,719 hours are reported until June 2019. For example, the incident of diesel pollution in Selangor River in July 2019 has caused 4 water treatment plants to shut down, resulting water disruption to over 1.2 million accounts. Besides that, there are cases of odor pollution occurred in December last year at the Sungai Semenyih. This had forced the affected water treatment plant Sungai Semenyih and another water treatment plant Bukit Tampoi to shut its operation, where about more than 300,000 accounts were affected. Next, as for reserve margin, the application of water supply for most new development are under review. As example, in state of Selangor, due to its low reserve margin, about 563 application of water supply are still under review since 2012. Recently in Johor, SPAN already formed a task force early this year at state level to review the planning development application due to low reserve margin, especially in Johor Bahru. Next, we look at NRW. There has been recorded a total loss of 5,000 million litre of water every day, which translates into the total loss of 1.6 billion in year 2018 alone. Next, let's us look at NRW in 2019. The graph on the left shows the NRW level for each state in percentage. NRW level in 2019 is about 33%. As compared to year 2018, there are 0.9% reduction in NRW. As I mentioned earlier, estimated losses is about 5,000 MLD, equivalent to 1.6 billion annually, and more or less can supplement roughly about 80% demand for state of Selangor. Another indicator I just want to share on the screen is infrastructure leakage index. So for Malaysia and Peninsular Malaysia and Wilayah Persekutuan Labuan, the average index ILI is 23.5. ILI is a purely technical performance indicator, and more realistic and more meaningful performance indicator for comparison of leakage management in water supply system, and now have been widely used and accepted by practitioners around the world. It was developed somewhere in 1999 by IWA Task Force. So ILI at 23.5 means that it requires immediate water loss reduction interventions in our country. It will reflect on the performance, the condition of asset, operational efficiency, and the image and efficiency of water operators. As we know, the federal government is seriously involved to support NRW program. Overall, based on our audit on the performance of NRW for states that have migrated to the new regime, especially those on the early states to complete the migration, we saw there is a good, there is and has been improved for NRW every year. From three major components of NRW, physical loss is major contributors for NRW levels. Therefore, proper and holistic approach for management of physical losses required to tackle and to manage these physical losses, such as active leakage control programs through establishment of district meter area for better controlling of leakage, and we have introduced a pressure management program in the distribution system, monitoring mechanism to ensure repair works are in time and also good quality of repair, and asset management such as pipe replacement program had to be implemented. And then to ensure NRW is continuously in control and effective, we need to have a very good competent staff. As I mentioned earlier, is a holistic approach and good asset management program, and also full awareness from the top management is a very important element. For water quality, the overall performance average for Peninsular and Wilayah Persekutuan Labuan for 2019 showed significant improvement, with all 5 main parameters under QAP program comply within the target for the 5 consecutive years, although Ministry of Health has increased the target, especially like a few parameters like E. coli, combined residual chlorine, and E. coli and aluminium. To enhance the monitoring of the water quality performance among the water treatment operators, SPAN also implemented a monitoring mechanism and procedure where all the water operators are required to submit monthly water quality reports on their respective in-house water quality monitoring, and also testing conducted by their own personnel at the plants. This will provide a second set of water quality performance to complement the test by Ministry of Health. In addition, SPAN also requested water operators to establish their own internal central accredited laboratories to enable them to conduct their own water quality monitoring programs and build competencies and confidence in the water quality monitoring. Next, SPAN also has set minimum reserve margin needed in the system to be between 10 to 15% to meet the water demand for new development and to address the sharp increase in demand during festive and long holidays. On to our next slide about water supply and demand, we can look at the map. The color indicates the range of reserve margin to the state in percentage. Generally, both states have a comfortable or more than 10% of reserve margin, except for state of Kelantan, Johor, Selangor, Kedah, and Perlis. The reserve margin in several states such as Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, Penang, and Perak remain after migrating to the new regime. However, for Johor, it's only 7.8% of reserve margin, which is below KPI set by SPAN. It is expected to improve with the construction of few treatment plants that are expected to be completed by September 2020. Sungai Layang package plant, whereas there is also another water treatment plant to be ready by 2021, and the Layang water treatment plant to be ready by 2022, inshallah. On next slide, for the last slide of the first section, I would like to share SPAN's initiative to achieve our national per capita target. As mentioned previously, Malaysian current per capita usage is at 226 liter per capita per day, and our target for the next 10 years is 160 liters per capita per day. In the past, SPAN through Water Efficient Labelling Product Scheme or WEPS have planned a program to introduce and encourage to use the water efficient products to reduce water usage or to cut down water wastage. Hence, for the next 3 years, we have set out some new programs to proactively sponsor to change existing water fittings into water efficient products in some of the premises facilities around us. These premises have been identified, including schools, R&R station at the certain expressway, and also some recreational parks. We also carry out edit program previously for water demand management. Is another effort on this LCD. It covers premises such as Abi Camp, college, university, etc. Recently, based on our audit findings done at one of the army camp in Pulada, they are able to get about 610,000 K for refurbishment works to reduce internal leakage in their water supply system. For that, I will end first section of water sector.
Thank you so much. So for our attendees, you can now view questions on your page. Please answer questions and answer in this poll. We'll show you the poll results immediately after this. We hope all our participants will answer the 3 questions. There's a heavy thunderstorm in my office, so maybe you can hear a lot of noise from my side. Okay, Andy, so when you have the result, you can show it on the screen. There we are. Okay. results. You can just scroll down to see all the results. Okay, so now we'd like to play you a small advertisement. The first advertisement, our first advertiser for today is very cute.
My SAJ smartphone app. Download now on App Store and Google Play.
And welcome our second advertiser, Citizen.
The ocean is my calling. Each precious moment of time is mine. Powered by the light around me, I dive deeper. Citizen ProMaster, go beyond.
Thank you to the support from our advertisers. And I now would like to invite Haji Sobri to continue with the part 2 of his presentation. Haji Sobri, can you unmute your video? Okay, you can continue, Haji Sobri.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to sewerage services. The focus will be on two subjects. Firstly, sewerage connected services, which encompasses the current sewerage statistic in Malaysia. And secondly, effluent compliance and regulation imposed by Department of Environment. Summary of sewerage services statistic in Peninsular Malaysia and Labuan, the available infrastructure are 6,947 numbers of sewerage treatment plant or STP that caters for 26 million population equivalent. There are about 1,237 numbers of network pumping station and total length of 20,235 kilometers of sewer network. Operators are required to comply with environmental quality or sewage regulation set out by DOE. In relation to this, the average effluent quality achieved is about 95.3%. This further explanation will be provided in the subsequent slides. To date, there are 3.9 million registered sewerage accounts, in which 86.6% are domestic users. For more details on the sewerage statistic, please refer to the Water and Sewerage Statistic Handbook 2019, published by SPAN. This quick facts slide gives you an overall picture of public connected services percentile by state. States like Kelantan, Terengganu, Perlis, and Pahang have lower connectivity compared to other states. This is because in Kelantan, sewage is mostly treated via septic tanks. It is anticipated that with the construction of Tunjung STP under 11 Malaysia Plan, connected services will be increased and improved. The same goes for Perlis and Terengganu, whereas in Pahang, development and urbanization is concentrated within Kuantan. The pie chart depicts the number of public and private sewerage asset as at February 2020. For public system, the sewerage asset are broken down into multi-point and centralized system. Where for private asset, there are STPs, individual septic tank, and also traditional system. Strategic finding plays an important role in the development of proper centralized system. This is because rationalization of septic tank and traditional system can take place drastically with the provision of strategic centralized treatment plant with sufficient capacity. Next, I will talk about effluent compliance. Moving on this subject, effluent compliance set by DOE under second schedule of Environmental Quality Regulation 2009, EQSR is as Para 1, STP built after 2009, Para 2, STP built before 1999, and Para 3, STP built after 1999. There are currently two discharge standards that are to be adhered with. Firstly, effluent that is discharged upstream of the water intake must meet standard A. Secondly, the effluent discharged downstream of the water intake has to meet standard B. Based on the regulatory data from sewerage operators, an average 95.3% effluent complies with the standard set by DOE as per 2019. There are several program currently set out to improve the sewerage service sectors. Number one is tariff setting mechanism. Financial feasibility has a bearing on quality services. Operational efficiency can reduce the O&M cost to a certain degree, but current tariff is low, and this is putting significant risk on the operation and maintenance work and infrastructure. In order to ensure sewerage services runs in an effective and efficient cost, tariff structure must be reviewed. Moving towards a full cost recovery on the water service industry, tariff pricing should be reviewed so that both capital and operational costs can be recovered. This can be facilitated through the use of tariff setting mechanism that being established by SPAN. As we know, TSM is a robust, fair and clear tariff setting process that is towards promoting transparency of financial information and performance of service licensees. Information on cost and performance level will be disclosed to consumers who will know what services they are paying for and what they are getting in return. Operational efficiency is part of the TSM to ensure operator is not getting paid for inefficiency. The second one is the joint billing. Joint billing initiative started in 2015 as a pilot in Wilayah Persekutuan Labuan between the Jabatan Bekan Air Labuan and IWK. Joint billing is an integrated billing system that combines water usage charges and sewerage service charges. The reason for joint billing is to increase the collection efficiency and reduce debts. Another reason is to enable water operators to disconnect service for errant customers whom do not wish to pay sewerage charges. Upon the success story in Labuan, IWK and Syarikat Air Terengganu are implementing this in January 2020. SPAN's target is to get all water operators on board for this exercise. In order to achieve the requirements set out by the DOE under EQSR 2009, SPAN under SEC, Sewerage Capital Contribution Fund, has approved the upgrading of existing sewage treatment plants to upgrade to Para 1. This project has commenced in 2020, this year. This project was approved based on the DOE's decision to implement stricter discharge standards. IWK is responsible for maintaining 6,746 public STP nationwide, except in Kelantan, Sabah, and Sarawak. Out of this, about 4,158 STPs need to be upgraded to comply with Environmental Quality Standard 2009. Due to financial constraint, upgrading works were delayed. So the first phase of STPs, the first phase of upgrading works is focused within the area of Standard A, catchment with 644 sewage treatment plants. The balance will be upgraded after year 2023, but we try to expedite because we cannot wait too long to ensure to create a better cycle of water and sewerage water services, and to promote green and help the environment. The third one is discharging rules. Discharging rules after Water Services Industrial Act was enforced in 2008. The number of septic tank discharge dropped almost 57% to only 60,000. Why this is because prior to 2008, IWK and private discharging contractors were more proactive in providing door-to-door notices, more proactive in offering discharging services, as it was based on scheduled discharging. At present, the basis of discharging services is liberalized under Section 65 of Water Services Industrial Act. However, under Section 44, in bracket 1, the obligation of service licensee to discharge septic tank as prescribed. This SPAN reviewed the current setup and established new regulation to support the increase of discharging services. The regulation is currently being reviewed by Kementerian Legal Advisor prior to submission to AG office. Without proper timely discharging, untreated sewage and sludge solids can overflow into rivers. This will cause depletion of dissolved oxygen in these rivers, resulting in the death of aquatic life. So large quantities of sludge that settle to the bottom of the river will also kill off any aquatic plant. This will cause our rivers eventually die. The fourth one is alternative resource. In 2016, there are more than 9,700 sewage treatment plants, public and private, in Malaysia. About 6,500 consists of public STPs. Out of this, 90 STPs have been identified as potential sewage treatment plants that are capable of producing treated effluents and sludge. The Green Technology Master Plans, GTMP, aim is to recycle 1/3 of treated effluent by 2030. And the recycling rate of sludge is 100% sludge, can be tapped for renewable energy purposes to generate electricity and for the perimeter fencing in the STP. So far, SPAN currently developing a technical standard for treated effluent and biosolid. It is anticipated to be published in Q4 this year. Instead of releasing the treated effluent to the environment, treated effluent should be further treated as reclaimed water for non-potable application to reduce the pressure on existing potable water supply. Reclaimed water is recommended for application of non-food related field, non-food crop agriculture, and non-food related industry application. It can be delivered to the end user via a closed loop system or by tankers. So slash from STP can be recycled as a biosolid, which recommended for application as fertilizer for non-food crop agriculture, energy production, and raw materials for other green technology products. So the basic principle of bioeffluent and biosolid initiative, first, does not endanger public health. The second one does not cause any disturbance and negative impact on the social life. The third one, positive impact on the environment and climate change. Fourth, does not interfere with the main function of the sewerage system, is to treat sewage and helps reduce operating costs and maintenance of sewerage system. As a conclusion before I end this session, in general, the performance of service providers who have migrated to the new regime of water supply services has improved. This was reflected in certain technical KPI achievement where they at least sustain or improve. And with the current water services industry scenario, I would like to share some of the aspects that needs to be focused by the entire water industry, which there are NRW, reserve margin, tariff, operating costs, level of services, financial deficit, pollution, water resources, and also to new technologies, to explore on the new technologies. So before I end the session, I would like to share that in order to ensure successful and sustainability in water industry, 4 elements must pay attention to we must pay attention to at least 4 main elements. There are other elements, but I feel the first leadership, funding, mechanism, expertise, and competencies is very important element for this water industry or any other industry. With that, thank you very much.
Hello, attendees. So there are some questions that we have not answered yet. So we will send the answers to you via email. So many thanks to the Malaysian Water Association for hosting today's webinar. And thank you, Haji Sobri, for joining us today. Is there anything else, Haji, that you would like to add?
No, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Dato' Kadir. I think Dato' Kadir has left for another meeting already. So, ladies and gentlemen, our next webinar, which is next Tuesday at 3 o'clock, will be on Langat Sewerage Project, Challenges and Strategy. And it's going to be presented by MMC Pembetungan Langat Sendirian Berhad, SMHB Sendirian Berhad, and IRICO Sendirian Berhad. So we hope you will all join us again next week. You can read more about this session on our Facebook. And just a little bit of news about what we are doing, our current project. So we'd like to share a little bit with you. We are organizing a special edition of our MTE 2020 COVID-19 International Innovation Awards. If you have an innovation or an initiative which is ready to deploy or adapted for COVID-19 responses, or if you have found creative ways of supporting communities or have innovative business ideas in reshaping business models or workforce support, you can join us in this award. So you can view the details on our MTE Facebook page. So thank you, everyone. So go to our Malaysia International Water Convention Facebook page, and all our webinar announcements and details are there. And the link to view this video again on YouTube is also there. Any more slides for our audience, Henry? So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Haji Sobri. Thank you to SPAN. Thank you to Malaysian Water Association and all our participants here. So have a wonderful week ahead and see you again next Tuesday, 3 o'clock. Thank you and goodbye.